to infinity and beyond!
So we're going to talk about one of the most gritty and realistic sci-fi movies to come out of the late 80s. We are, of course, talking about Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity. And in case you weren't able to tell, yes, that was sarcasm at the beginning of this review. So this is a 1987 movie starring Elizabeth Kaitan and Brinky Stevens and Cindy Bill. Screen Queen extravaganza, basically. And this is a very sort of kitsch, corny, goofy, fun movie that I absolutely loved when I was a teenager. And I saw this film and, you know, it's got spaceships, it's got beautiful women, it's got aliens, robots, laser guns, it's got it all there. And I used to love this film. So I've kind of watched it recently. I had it on VHS and I'm going to give you my review. Tell you what I think nowadays. So the plot of this film basically focuses on two characters, two female prisoners who have been kept in this kind of space prison for some reason. We don't really get a lot of backstory about, you know, who they are and what they're doing there and stuff like that. But essentially, they're kind of they're hanging on in their kind of bikinis like you do when you're in prison, and they manage to escape and find their way to this kind of planet basically, and they kind of land on this island that we're told on this planet, and they meet up with this guy who is literally the spitting image of Christian Bale from American Psycho. Oh my god, it's uncanny. So if you want more Patrick Bateman, then check this movie out. Anyway, and he's seemingly this kind of suave and sophisticated guy living in this kind of large mansion. There's a couple of other survivors there as well, including Brinky Stevens, a very kind of well-known screen queen. And basically, he seems okay at first. Excuse me. But in actual fact, he is playing the most dangerous game, and these people are going to be his hard target. So in case you didn't get that reference, basically what he does is he somehow sort of captures fallen people who are maybe from spacecraft, things like that, basically strangers, and sets them up on this kind of island and hunts them down, giving them just a knife. And he's basically got this these kind of two like hulking robots that are follow him around basically. And that's it. Essentially, he captures these kind of guys. They kind of figure out what's going on, and this guy decides he wants to hunt them and kill them and mount them on the wall like trophies. And it's up to our sexy, busty heroines to sort of try and escape with their lives. So this is a very kind of, like I say, a cheesy, corny film that is probably bordering on sexist nowadays, and probably wouldn't get made unless it was to piss take these type of films when they actually got made for real. But I still kind of liked it. I have to say, this kind of has that feel of the kind of the 50s sort of sci-fi films here. And I actually, although it's very cheap and kind of everything here is on the sort of the cheaper side, the kind of the laser sounds and effects and things like that, I still kind of dug the design. I really like the design of the two robots that are kind of following him around, and then they kind of bicker and have a bit of sort of personality themselves. And they've got the guy here, they've got the main bad guy, I forget his name, I think it might be Zed. He, you know, like I said, he's really uncannily like Christian Bale. And watching it, obviously, when I did originally, you don't obviously because I wasn't around then, but nowadays watching it for more recently, it's so interesting because the guy is a psychopath as well. So it's kind of spooky because you really feel like you're watching it like that sort of character again in a different movie. Yeah, it's all very, you know, there's no sense in logic here. Don't kid yourself. This isn't going to be a film where you think, that wouldn't actually happen. That one seems quite realistic. If that's your kind of point of view, then forget about this movie, because everything about this film is just style, cheesy style over substance. But I can't help but kind of enjoy this movie for the sense of fun. It's quite a brisk film. It's not particularly long, so it doesn't hang around, basically. There's lots of kind of female flesh on display, and I actually quite liked the main actress here, Elizabeth Kaitan. Basically, she was in a few of the films that I kind of loved when I was younger, and I mean she's apparently a secretary now and gave up acting many moons ago, so come back to the movie world. Anyway, this is like I said, going to be for a certain audience for definite, but I would suggest if you like more fantastical, fantasy-based sort of sci-fi. It kind of, in a way, is reminiscent of the kind of the heavy metal magazines that sort of came out, and it's kind of very sort of wild fantasy, very much aimed for men, or, you know, it's obviously, like I said, really is probably a bit sexist by today's sort of standards, but, you know, I do enjoy it. If you like your classic B movies, then this is definitely one for you. I actually quite enjoyed this movie, and I still do to this day, although, yes, it's easy to be critical, and if you're a nitpicker, you'll be all over this film. I'm not going to go through it now, but I'm going to give this movie a 6 out of 10. I actually quite enjoyed it still. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment, and I will look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.